everyone, it's Art again today, and we're going to have a little try at decorating some pots. If you've been saving up all the recycling in your house, you'll find some little things that are useful for your art. I've got some things that you might not have. I found these in my home that I used for something else, and it's a little terracotta pot, but it's very small, and I've got some here that are even smaller, so I might use those. But really, we're looking for all these little junky things that we have in our homes. This little bottle, I took the label off it, and some of these jam jars are quite useful as well. So you can use these things to make something that you can use for yourself. So I've got some wool and ribbon here, I've got bits of paper, I've got old bits of scrap bags of crisps and stuff like that, and my materials I'm going to use today are Sharpies, usual Sharpie and the thick Sharpie, and these here are pens that I got. They're like Sharpies, but they're not. They're a slightly cheaper version, but they work excellently, and I've tried some out on my paper there, and they work really well. So I have spent a little bit of money today. Maybe if you have pocket money, you could, over the weeks, you could build up a nice little collection of yourself of art stuff. You can buy things quite cheaply. You don't have to go to the dedicated art shop. So I've got some glue here as well, my trusty Pritt stick, and I've got some scissors here for cutting. So let's see. Okay, I'm going to start with a glass jar. I've taken all the label off and all the glue that was on it as well. And if I use a permanent marker, then when the permanent marker dries, it stays on the glass. So it's very easy. You can just draw on it with this pen. I'm going to draw a little leaf design here. And you could perhaps use this little jar for keeping sharpeners in, or some little pens that you might have. So I've got all my little leaves here. You can leave it black like that, you don't need to put colour on, or if you want to, get your other permanent marker, the colour one, and you can carefully colour this in and make your little leaf stand out. So that's going to take quite some time. What I'm going to do when I've finished is I'm going to use this bit of plastic here, and I'm going to cut out some leaf shapes. Now if I fold it in two, I can cut out my little leaf shape. And of course leaves have different shapes, so you might want to try something a bit different. There's my two little leaf shapes, and I shall have a go at sticking them on the outside of the glass. So I have put my black design on, and I've filled in a little bit of green, not very much, it's quite subtle. So I'm going to try and stick on these little leaves with this here. So I put the glue on the glass, and then I just press this little one on top, and you can make a little three-dimensional element to your glass like that. So I've got little leaves on. I'm going to have a go at putting some little fringe bits on, just to make something a bit different. So I cut my little pieces like this, put it on top of each other, and I do a very delicate little snip to make a fringe on the tiny bit of paper. Got two there, so I put my glue on the jar, put my paper on, another one down here, a little bit of glue on the jar, and you can build it up until it looks really quite interesting, and the glue should hold it all right, as long as you don't get it wet, of course. So there's your little jar, ready for pens or whatever you want to put in it. Okay, let's have a little look at these little plastic pots like this. First thing that you would do is to try and trim off the edge to make it look even. You can do that quite easily with scissors. And you can just do very simple things to make this. This could be for your earrings or small things that you have in your room. So if I get my glue and just put glue around the outside here, right round the whole thing, and you can do something really simple, just get some ribbon, orange ribbon, and put it around the outside, and you've got instantaneously a really attractive little pot. You can leave the triangular bit at the end like that, or you can trim it off. Perhaps you could have a go with, I'm going to put a little orange strip on here, and I've cut out some tiny little fish like this. So if I put my glue again around the outside, this one, and I'm going to start off with this orange strip of paper along the top. Orange and blue are quite attractive together. Like that. And I've got my little blue pieces of plastic from my wrapping that came on some food. Clean, of course. Put the little fishes on. And if you remember before, I showed you how to make little bits of confetti. So if you choose a colour that you would like, let's have a little bit of this green here. If you make little thin strip and then cut it up really, really small onto the table, like that, as much as you like. And then if you gather it up with your hand, perhaps wet your finger, and then they will just go onto the, stick onto the pot, because you've got the glue on there already. And you've got a little underwater scene there with that. Okay. Alright, this is a little pot made out of a lid. Maybe you recognise it. I've put some fringed paper on the inside, and I've got a little bit of green around the edge there and tied, and I've made a little flower like that, and that can sit in there as a little, just a little design that you can have in your room. This design here is a little lemon bottle, and it has a little bit of a relief on it here, a leaf design, so you can draw around the outside, or you could colour all the in-between bits with green. I've made little bell flowers on this one, and the opening is just perfect. It just fits the Sharpie pen like that, so that's quite good. Okay, this design is made from a jam jar, and I've put some sandy effect along the bottom, just stuck paper around the bottom, and cut out little blue fish from plastic wrapping, and I've given them little coloured eyes on here. And it's because it's a heavy jar that it's quite good for holding things like scissors, because they're a bit heavier than just pens. Okay, this design is the little plastic bottle. This is for scissors. I'm going to put my scissors in here. The bottle's a little bit light, but if you put 2 or 3 stones in the bottom, it'll be good for scissors. I've put 4 little pictures with different colours around the sides, just to make sure everybody knows it's for scissors. Put that in there. And the last thing I'm going to show you is this little pot here, one of my little flower pots that I found in the cupboard. Usually when I decorate these, I use paint, because the paint is really bright on the colour. So I haven't got paint today, so I've used my Sharpie pen again, my green, and I've drawn on my leafy design and my stems. Normally I would use white paint to paint on the petals and then yellow in the middle, but this time I've used some white paper, and I have coloured the middle with yellow Sharpie colour, and maybe I could put some around the top like this as well, some even smaller little heads of flowers on there like that. So whatever you choose and think about, think carefully for your design, how it's going to look in the end. This little small one, I'm not very sure what you could do with that. Perhaps you could use it for holding a ring or something like that. I don't know. A little sharpener that you have. So thank you for listening today, and I hope you have good fun searching through the recycling to find little pots and see what you can come up with. Please send me some pictures so that I can put them on the website. Bye.